Yo, what's going on, guys? It's been a while. Wanted to make this video that's kind of off the cuff of how my transition out of the military has been, and what my plan is for 2025. So before I left the military, I thought it was going to be cake, and people who struggled to transition were just lazy, spineless kind of people. And so to understand where my headspace was at that time, you know, I was a chief operating officer of a startup. I helped them go from 0 to 2.5 mil in a single year. And along with military pay, I was making maybe right about like 12 to 13 grand a month. And my highest month was like 19 grand. And so I had a lot of money coming in, a lot of money saved up, and all this through my personal efforts, right? Like I put in a lot of time and energy into making sure I'm good to go. And so July 2023 was when I used my leave days to, lead my, to kind of transition early. I forgot what the term was. August 2023 was officially the date of my separation. And then soon after, the company that I was working for sold. So I left their position as their COO. I was 30 years old, and then, I was out of the military, and then it's like, now what? Right? So like September, I was like, okay, what do I do next? And so I had about 100 grand in the bank. And so I had enough time and leeway to just kind of goof off and fool around, do whatever I want. And then I started, doing some interviews and getting to know a couple of people here and there. And I had an interview with a guy named Aaron Batley. I think that interview did really well. I think it's got like 300,000 or 400,000 views. And then I started my own business, and within 45 days, made 9 grand. And, January rolled around. I was like, okay, what do I want to do? What's something that I don't want to do? It's actually going back to school. Why do I not want to go back to school? Well, it's because why would I go back to school to learn business when those business professors that teach the subject have never built a big business, and they're just educated in teaching? Doesn't make any sense. I have more experience than them. They just know a little bit more of the vocabulary. But I decided to just go into more philosophy side of things and went back to school. And then at the same time, my grandmother passed away in January. And so I did the, at the funeral kind of speaking thing. I think it's called, I forgot what it was, obituary, or, when you kind of like speak on how they were as a person while they were alive type of thing. I forgot what it was. But anyway, did that, which kind of helped me grow outside my comfort zone, and then started getting involved with church. Went back to school. My first day of school, I remember, a lot of my clothes now, because I have a little bit of money, I have some good clothes. And so like I rolled into class with like a briefcase, top coat, black turtleneck, dark blue top coat, freaking decked out hair, Ugg boots, black pants. If you're familiar with Sung Jin Woo from what's that anime called Level Up, Solo Leveling, something like that. Like I basically looked like that almost. And I sat in a table with two people. One of the students, the first thing he said to me was, "How old are you?" And I was like, "I'm 30." And so that semester, I did pretty good. I think I got like 1D and then like 2 A's and 1B. That class that I got a D in, the professor wasn't that great. He has one of the worst reviews ever. It's like on a whim, last minute, using the GI Bill, I decided to go back to school. And so, as I was going through this period, I was able to reconnect with my parents, talk to them. Coming back, being away for 8 years is super important for me to reconnect, get involved at church, go to different church activities, do all that stuff. Invested 50 grand into a mentorship and started spending money on different experiences. Eventually it got to the point where I had like 20 grand left, right? And I was like, okay, like what do I need to do? I need to make some money. And towards May, right, I started applying. I updated my resumes, started applying. Coming from a heavy sales background, it's all about effort. And so I applied to like 500 places. For a month, I wasn't getting picked up. And I realized, bigger like $1 billion companies, it doesn't make any sense for me to work with them. They just don't understand the level of skill and talent that I bring. At the same time, it's hard to translate my experience over there. And so my niche for sure is at the 7, 8, and 9 figure level, early 9 figure level. And even now, I'm still getting rejection letters from like Louis Vuitton and like Balenciaga and Merck, some of these other bigger corporations and companies, and which is fine. I don't want to work with them, and I don't have any intentions to go back to the corporate space. But like that period, May, June, was definitely a hard moment because my money started to dwindle, and I felt like maybe I'm not as hot shot as I thought. Maybe my skills are not as valuable as I thought. Maybe I got lucky this whole time. I started to question a lot of things. And I realized then that that was the hard part of transitioning that most people talked about before I, started transitioning. I would say that was like the hardest moment, right? And luckily I had my parents, and obviously I bought them this house, and they were still able to support me. But I could understand why people struggle. And I was in a very good position because I have the money as well as I have the skills, right? Like I talk to people all the time now, and they'll say like, "Oh, I'm struggling to find a job. Nobody is hiring." And I'll ask them like, "Cool, how many companies did you apply in the month of December?" And they'll say 3. It's like, cool. I applied to 500 in a month, right? Like, put in volume, put in work. And then eventually, obviously, in July, I found a company that's willing to pick me up as their consultant as their senior client success manager. And they pay me $7,000 a month. And that kind of started to turn kind of my life around at that point, where money was coming in. I could breathe more, and it allowed me to freely enjoy. We went on a cruise and vacations and spas and all that kind of stuff with my family, and started my fall semester and ended my fall semester early in December. And so I have my associates now, kind of getting back into the academic grind. And at that time in June, I also went to Harvard University because I got invited to study there for a week. And so, I've just been doing a lot of activity, right? One of the things that really helped me transition was being held accountable to other people outside of myself, because I found if I do nothing and just be locked up in my room, not only is it not productive where I don't make any money, it's also mentally not productive because I'm just kind of sitting there stagnant with my own thoughts. And so being involved at church where I have to go to these certain events, or I have to, put myself in a position where I am involved, helped me kind of like share some of the just express some of the concerns that I have, right? Because at church, there are people my age. I go to a little bit of a bigger church. There are people my age that share the same concerns, right? They're in a similar position, that they're in their late 30s or early 30s, or maybe even late 30s, struggling to find a job, struggling to find a significant other, and just having a community where you can share and vocalize that was to me very helpful. And it also helped me realize the military community aspect of it too, because I would go to the gym here locally, and I would see like veterans, right? Like Vietnam veteran, whatever it is. Before I joined the military, I always thought, oh, they just want to brag about having gone to war, saying like, "Nam," and all that kind of stuff. But I realize now that they don't really care. That's not why they wear all these gear, Vietnam veteran, to try to display outwardly. What they're looking for are their friends. They're friends that went to the war, that grew up around the same generation, that watched the same TV shows growing up, that had a similar upbringing growing up, so that they can talk about it and they can have a friendship, they can have some level of social aspect still as an older person that's experienced certain things. And so I realized like that was the value of what they were trying to do, and that really helped me cope and transition back into the civilian life, having that community, having myself held accountable to other people outside of myself and my family, as well as finally being able to find a good job that I can work remotely and consult and make $7,000 a month and spend time with my family, and then going back to school and just having that academic pressure. And at the same time, later on, I decided to consult some other companies as well, and like double up on my work and my academic work. And so like I got to the point where I was making $15,000 a month, and my life was just absolutely bonkers because there's so much that I got to do on every single week across 2 companies and a job and school. And then it helped me pad up my bank account for sure. But earlier this month I decided to drop one of the companies, and then I finished school, so I got my associates, and then I just have worked this one other company now. And in 2025 I'm going to be traveling to Korea as well as Brazil for those 2 countries, like 2 months, where I can just kind of enjoy and live life a little bit. And yeah. And so my challenge now moving forward, and so that's kind of how my 2024 was. It was a season of transition. It was a season of hardship. And I remember this because, some of you might be thinking, well, it's easy for you to say, Yoon. As I was sharing this yesterday at my church, one of my church members was saying like, oh, I'm jealous, must be nice. In my mind, instantly I was thinking, well, it's because I put in the work. The results that I have is a reflection of my work. And the results that I have is a reflection of the challenges that I decided to overcome. The reason why you have not found a job yet after 5 months is because you just have not put in the work. It's something that I was thinking in my mind. I didn't say it to them because it definitely hurt their feelings. But for those of you who are thinking like, hey, it must be nice, all that kind of stuff, it's because you just need to put in work, right? Like put in 500 applications in a month, right? It's not that hard, right? You just need to, I have videos on it. You just need to go into Indeed and have like 4 or 5 different resumes of 4 or 5 different positions and just apply it nonstop in Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster.com, ZipRecruiter, Facebook, all these platforms out there, plenty of them. Upwork, and then eventually you get picked up because you just put in so much effort that it's just unreasonable for you to not get picked up. And so I forget exactly what I was saying, but yeah, that's kind of like what really helped me in my transition, is putting in insane amount of effort, as well as being held by accountable to other people going into 2025. I realized it's time for me to amplify the life that I live, amplify the values that I live by, and continue to help other people. I've been helping a lot of people, and I've developed a high level of skill in being able to coach people within the work that I've done for the last 4 years, which was kind of in the private. Most of you guys didn't see how I grew over the last 4 years. Maybe if you see my videos from the old days to now, you can kind of notice the different way I speak and all that kind of stuff. But decided to, 2025, I'm going to create my own company again, really focus down on it, amplify my values, who I am, and just try to help as much people out there. Because I realized what makes me happy. Well, for me, in my memory, when I think about happiness, I always think about what makes me smile. My family, being surrounded by people, interacting with them, engaging with them, makes me smile. To me, that's the definition of happiness, being surrounded by people. And what do I want to protect? What gives me purpose? My purpose is to be able to protect them because they have financial concerns. My church member has financial concerns, but being able to be the example where I can give them direction so that they don't have financial concerns, so I can still maintain their friendship. My family as well, so my parents can retire properly, they don't have financial concerns, and they can live a happy life. They can continue to serve their community, their church, live the way they want to live. And we can always interact, as a family. We don't have to live in a luxurious life, but as long as we have the comfort to travel 2-3 times a year, and just live a financial worry-free life. That is simple life, but it is a difficult life because it requires a lot of financials. And so to be able to be the son, to be able to be the friend, the church member that can provide that level of clarity, that level of security to those around me gives me purpose. And so 2025, what would help me give me more purpose in life is to be able to help you guys with everything that I've learned. Just continue to put out content and share with people as much as I can to be able to help those of you who I just can't physically be around, get a level of clarity, get a level of financial security, get a level of good health, and reconnect with your family so that you can be happy, right? I've been able to help one of my students to be able to do that because, like, one of my students, he was like, oh, I think I'm gonna move out of my house, because my dad wants me to go to school, and he said if I don't go to school, I'm gonna get kicked out of the house. And I was like, cool, why do you want to be rich and successful? It's because I want to be able to provide the best life for my family. Okay, what sense does it make to go out, to leave your family, to try and like support your family? Why not just stay in? Why not just go to school? Well, because I don't know if school's going to be good. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to school, and why do you think I go to school? It's because school helps you train your muscles on being able to solve difficult problems, right? And business is a reflection of being able to solve difficult problems. And so school, obviously in an academic setting, helps you solve different problems with formulas. In business, it's the same thing. There's a KPI, those are formulas, and you just use the same muscles in your brain to be able to solve those problems. And so being able to give people clarity like that, to me, means the world. And so 2025, that's going to be kind of the goal moving forward. And so my transition in 2024 has been difficult in the beginning, a lot better now. In 2025, I'm sure there's still going to be challenges. Like, I realize now it's always just up and down. Like, I have enough money now, maybe like 70 grand, but 6 months later, I might go back to like 10 grand, 20 grand, and I have to figure something out, and I might start flipping out and freaking out again. I don't think I'm going to get myself to that point, because I have a pretty good footing now. But I recognize that it could always happen, and it happens to a lot of military members. And so my goal is to be able to help as much people in different avenues, whoever wants to be entrepreneurs, whoever is transitioning out of the military, whoever is in the military, whatever the case is, to be able to provide them with as much clarity as I can. So, bit of a longer video, but thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Instagram, Mr. Yoon Kim, or shoot me a DM, and I'll be able to help you guys. Peace.